got the...
It's more than just steel and gears. It pulls you in and doesn't let go.
Okay, hello. Welcome back to the Carousel Podcast. Hopefully getting back into somewhat a regular rhythm of these. We had Jacob Savage on last Friday, and I screwed up the sound, which made me almost jump off a bridge, but hopefully AI fixed it. And now we have Jay from Michigan Enjoyer with us. Can we say your last name? I don't want to...
Yeah, Murray. Jay Murray. I'm completely out in the open, man.
Completely out in the open now. We'll get into your backstory a little bit in a second here, and what we're going to talk about. But first, this program is brought to you by our sponsor, Jeezy.us, which is a Christian ultra high-end streetwear brand. Jay here is modeling the shirt. It is created by a great friend of ours at Will, who is Christian, and it's extremely high-end. It is all made in America. Get yours now at Jeezy.us. The store is live. The store is live. Here, I'll show it to people for 1 second just so they can see it. Very cool. When you order one, it comes in this cool box. Did you see the box when you got it?
Box is awesome. I couldn't believe it. I took a picture and texted it out to a bunch of friends. Like, look at this thing.
Yeah, you got to post it. You got to post.
I will.
You're an influencer now. You're an influencer. You got to post.
I will. I'll post.
Okay. Anyway, all right. So I met Jay long ago in a chat, and you were very anonymous then, and you were a PI, private investigator in Michigan. And we brought you in to do, we weren't sure what was going to happen. You were just going to do a little bit of light on the side journalism for Michigan Enjoyer. And in the 2 years since, you have become like the star of Michigan Enjoyer. And you're like it's perfect. You're like this hockey dad. You have a perfect sense of humor. You go and like do little bits of investigative reporting into things in this like very Michigan way that's perfect. So before we get into the story that you just wrote, which is on about China rebranding their presence on universities in Michigan, what's been going on in Enjoyer? How has this rise been? You're saying people are recognizing you on the street. So what's it been like?
It's been unusual. Something I've still not gotten used to yet. I'm still a nobody. I kind of relish my nobody status, but locally, at least in Metro Detroit, I'm getting spotted more and more. I've made a couple podcast appearances on some adjacent podcasts to the Michigan Enjoyer that have gone viral for some of the content in it. So I've been out and about and, out with at hockey games and things like that. And I get people coming up to me like, hey, I've seen your shit. And so it's kind of interesting. All the experiences have been good so far. There's been nothing negative to it. I do get some strange messages from some of the stuff I write, but in person, out on the street, everything's been really, really positive. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
So what was the first, I tuned in recently to the Instagram and I saw these great little like videos that you've been doing. So what was the first story that you did, local Michigan, the story that like kind of blew up?
Well, I did. There's been a few. The first thing we did was There's a company based in Pennsylvania called Sheetz. I don't know if that rings a bell. The Sheetz gas
Yeah,
stations that are on
Sheets,
the
the
East
gas stations.
Coast.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So they're trying to break into the state of Michigan, and it's created some interesting, funny little events in local politics at the local level. Things have gotten a little crazy. So at the Enjoyer, we did a video kind of making fun of all of it, making fun of the boomers, making fun of the people that really fixate on weird bullshit like a fucking gas station coming to town or something. And so we did the video and we put it out and it went crazy. And we had no idea it was going to go crazy. And the video has a bunch of asides in it where I'm saying one thing and I'm looking to the side in the camera and I'm dropping some profanity and making kind of funny remarks and it went off. We didn't even expect it to go off. And so from there it's just been crazy. One of the other videos that we did was we took a local congressman or a local congressman. We took a congressman, someone that was in Congress, and we took him shooting with AR-15s. That kind of got a little crazy. So other than that, it's just each video seems to hit better and better. Then to test out how far my reach has really gotten, we did a video on a hamburger joint, just a silly video on a 1950s diner, just to see, hey, how much will this go off if we do this? Boom, 150,000 viewers in like 24 hours
Wow,
off a,
dude.
off a off a video about a hamburger joint. I'm just eating a hamburger and it being stupid. It's just kind of ridiculous.
Dude,
So,
so
anyways,
cool, man.
so that's how
Hey,
I've been.
dude,
And by the way, all of that thanks to you because none of this happens if I don't bump into you.
isn't that
You
so
know?
weird? I remember talking to you. I remember the first conversation I had with you. I was on a train, and I was like, "Man, I have no idea if this might be so dumb." Like I was not you. I was just like, "This might be like I have no idea if this is gonna work out." And then it's like, yeah, you're a total natural, man. I mean, like I think really the on-camera stuff is you have. It's also just like you have like such a Michigan vibe. You know what I mean? You're so like just like super Michigan-y. But you're also really funny. You're not like weird. You know what I mean? Like you're obviously just like having a good time, and you're just like a Michigan dad who's like having a good time. It's great, man. It's really, I saw it and I was like, and I saw the numbers. I was like, this is like 800,000 views. I was like, what is going on? And it's great, man. It's so cool. So, all right. So, yeah. Okay. So let's talk. We might as well just get right into this. I mean, can you think of any other? Oh, what was the thing? I saw you like shouting in a state house or something. What was that?
Oh, no, that was a local political thing. We did a by the way, these stories I'm bumping into, I'm not going and looking for them. They're bumping into me. It's really unusual how to explain it. I don't even know how to explain it. But so, anyways, I did a story where I uncovered some self-dealing by a local politician. She was a member of the Michigan Senate. She was also a Michigan representative, and then she's very influential in where I live in local politics on the city council. And I found evidence of this particular woman self-dealing and so I just uncovered it. It exploded. The video went crazy. And then the blowback from that video resulted in getting some threats of a lawsuit filed against me by, by a local politician. And so I decided, no, I'm not going to let someone scare me with a lawsuit. So I went back into the city council meeting and I did this video where I kind of said, anyone wants to threaten me with a lawsuit, I'm doing a story on you the next day. And boom, it went even
Damn.
crazier. And so, anyways, that's that. But by the way, back to something you
Wait,
said.
wait. What was the? Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to mention my oldest daughter has a funny line. She calls my videos. She calls it Joe Rogan hockey dad vibe. Hockey dad vibe.
That's exactly
Because
right.
yeah, because the kids have been watching my shit and they come up with these things because you're like a Joe Rogan dad, but a hockey dad. So they called it the Joe
Yeah, dude.
Rogan hockey dad vibe. But go ahead.
It's
Go
so
ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
true. No, that's dead on. So, wait, but what was the self dealing that you uncovered?
This particular politician was using her influence and her position to get a walking away gift of tens of thousands of dollars as she because her term was ending on a city council seat, and she was trying to walk out the door with like about 26 or $27,000. And so
Wow.
we just uncovered it, and I just did a story on it. It was really simple. I didn't even do much of any hard work on it. I just wrote up a story. Hey, this is what's going on, and boom, put it out. And
It's
we shot a quick video, and it went crazy. You
it's
know,
truly amazing what happens when you actually do the work to do a little bit of journalism. It's really unbelievable because people are so used to just people talking, blabbering, 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 blabbering. Oh, I'm going to say the most blabberific, hottest take in history. And when somebody actually goes out and gathers primary information, they don't even know. They're like, whoa, why is it going so viral? It's like, yeah, because somebody actually did the work. This is what just happened with Jacob. And everybody was like so shocked. They're like, oh, it's because he's actually, a secret leftist, and these are all the reasons. But it's like, no, dude, he just did the work, and people like don't know what that even is anymore. So it's amazing what you're doing. So okay, let's talk about the article at hand, which is how the Chinese Communist Party rebranded on Michigan campuses. Confucius Institutes have become Chinese Student and Scholar Associations, which we're calling CSSA, creepy name, and they are embedded at MSU, University of Michigan, and Wayne State. So, okay, what's going on here? I think we've heard of these Confucius Institutes before. We've, of course, all heard of 600,000 Chinese students that Trump is going to say it's okay for them to stay in America. Here in Pasadena, we are in like rich Chinese heart of America. This is like crazy rich Asians capital, Pasadena. And, for better or worse, it's not all bad. It's not all bad. I've been learning to love it recently. But you tell us why did you start thinking about this, and what did you find out about Chinese presence on Michigan campuses?
so the story again. This is another scenario where the story bumped into me. I have a buddy that works in national security, and I was on the phone with him a couple weeks back, and we were literally doing hockey talk, literally like hockey dad talk, having talking about just nothing important. And at the end of the conversation, this individual goes, "Hey, what are you working on right now?" And I go, "Absolutely nothing, man. I'm doing a piece on a hamburger joint." And the guy goes, "Check out the Chinese Student and Scholar Association on the Michigan campuses." And I'd never heard of it before. I go, "What the hell is that?" And this person says, "Just check it out. It's something of interest that we're looking at. You might want to take a look at it." So I got off
Wow.
the phone and spent
Nice.
about 24 hours Googling and researching and calling everybody I could. And two things occurred immediately as I was spent that first day researching. Number one, there's information all over the internet that indicates some really nefarious activity going on within these groups. The second thing is that when I was calling politicians both at the national level and here in the state level in Michigan, no one had ever heard of this group before. I was getting a lot of what the hell are you talking about? Nobody knew. Um, and so from that point on, I started digging deeper and deeper. I had to make contact with a think tank in Washington, D.C. called the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, where I talked to a very nice researcher there, a lady named Jennifer Richmond, who provided me a ton of additional information on this. And ultimately, what we found out, I'm taking a long time to just basically say that we found these groups operating on the Michigan State, and Wayne State campuses. Now, what's interesting about this is a lot of people that pay attention might recall that during Trump's first term, and then extending into the Biden administration, um, something called Confucius networks were getting ran, or Confucius institutes were getting ran off college campuses nationwide. Most of the Big Ten schools, schools out west in California, the national security apparatus had determined that that these groups were a Chinese communist threat to the country, and so they ultimately just ran them out. It took a few years, but they ran them out. Trump started it. It continued under Biden, and all these groups
So,
were
so
these
they
groups.
actually successfully
But
got Confucius Institutes
what
out because I
I
remember
found out
hearing
during my
about them.
research is that these groups never did leave. What they did was
Mm.
they folded themselves into under a new rebranding. This rebranding is not new. It's been a group that's been operating throughout the country for several decades, kind of not doing anything, like a student group. But the Confucius Institutes needed a new rebranding, so they folded into the SSA. And not only are they now stronger and more aggressive than the Confucius Institutes, they're also more clever and deeply buried underground. So, forgive me for rambling, but I'll keep going on
No,
this.
no,
The,
you're
the
good.
most incredible thing is at Michigan and Michigan State, both these groups are using EDU emails with their groups literally on the servers for both schools. And as I dug deeper,
Weird,
it's become clearly
weird.
apparent based off some of the research and people, the national security experts I've talked to, these groups are involved in a rat's nest of illegal shit. So I guess that's the long and short of it. That's the broad brush strokes. I can go
So,
deeper depending on what you want to know.
well, okay. So you say here by 2020, 104 of the 118 Confucius Institutes in the
Oh,
U.S.
I
had
might have
either
lost.
104 of the 118 Confucius Institutes in the U.S. had either closed or were in the process of packing up their shit. Game over for China. Problem solved, right? Hold on. Then they came back and they basically rebranded as this thing CSSA, but with a far more careful approach. So, first of all, can you tell us how they originally got kicked out? Do you know that?
Yeah, during the Confucius Institutes got a little out, they got a little out over their skis during the 2010s. So starting like around 2014, you may have started hearing stories about Chinese police departments in urban areas and college campuses, things of that nature. They started getting a little out over their skis. They were being really aggressive with, particularly with the Tibetan sort of protesters on or Tibetan supporters on college campuses. It started as simple as that, and they were controlling speech on the campuses, threatening and controlling what other Chinese students were saying, and just overall just creeping everybody out. But then funding for these groups got tied all the way back to the People's Republic of China. In the pre-Trump era, I guess that would be the Obama era at that time. The national security experts had already identified this group as a problem on college campuses. And liberals and Democrats of that era weren't too keen on um, Asian students on campus anyway. So there was a process of clamping down on it. This obviously heightened up considerably during the Trump administration, starting in 2017. And by 2022, these groups were all but gone. Um, and they just couldn't operate out in the open anymore. You had, according to sources I talked to, you had national security agencies so closely watching the Confucius Institutes at this point that they didn't even have room to really breathe. And so they
Wow.
had
So they
to,
all shut down. Wait, but what? So, sorry. They were basically monitoring not American speech. They were trying to control the speech of Chinese nationals that were on campus. Is that right?
yeah. In addition to all that,
Interesting.
spying, particularly at research institutes in the Ivy League, and then in, for example, University of Michigan and UPenn and places like that. They were literally spying, obviously taking um, IP and information and flowing it back to the CCP. So all of this was happening so aggressively that the federal government was forced to get involved and get rid of these groups. But as you can tell, reading the piece, and as you know, you can kind of see that they didn't really leave, man. They just kept running. This is most specific to Michigan because in the second Trump era, they've locked down the border, the southern border. So one of the main entry points for the United States for foreigners is through the Detroit-Windsor border now. And that location is where you have Chinese nationals entering the United States and running right down I-94 right to Ann Arbor, where University of Michigan is.
Wait a
And then,
second, but hold on. We're not
yeah,
supposed to believe that. I mean, but they can't just illegally immigrate and then go right to University of Michigan, can they?
they do if they have student visas. They do if they are researchers. If, because the University of Michigan and Michigan State and Wayne State is in coordination with universities over in Hong Kong and in China, and they have these sister universities where they work together in a lot of ways for again the purposes of research. So you know your average Michigan resident, your average American, is not paying attention to any of this. I mean, I wasn't paying attention to it until someone mentioned it to me that this is something that might be interesting to look at. I mean, you don't think about it, except for in those rare moments when you click on a news story that says five University of Michigan students from that were also Chinese nationals are caught spying at military facilities in Michigan. Then you're like, wait, what's going on? What's happening?
That
Which
is
that
pretty
actually happened.
weird.
I
That is
know.
pretty weird. So, what was the story with that? Did that when did that happen?
That happened just this past summer. There's a place called Camp
Whoa.
Grayling up in northern Michigan where the U.S. National Guard and the U.S. Army does training exercises at. It's a secure area for the most part. And they caught five Chinese nationals spying on classified materiel and machines and vehicles. And when these five were arrested, they were determined to be University of Michigan students,
Oh
which is
my
bizarre.
God.
And then
And what happened to them?
they were arrested, and that's from what all I understand. It's from what I understand, it's still going through.
Charged with
Uh,
espionage.
yeah, yeah.
So what
So
happens when you get charged with espionage?
that's a
Where are
federal
they?
federal
Yeah.
issue, and I don't think they're in Michigan, but
Yeah, what are they in Guantanamo Bay? What happened to
but
the? It's like, could you imagine being at University of Michigan? It's like, oh yeah, my classmate was a spy. Were these? Do you know if they're like undergrad people? It's like, are they? It's unbelievable they can get away with this. Absolutely insane.
to whether they were undergrads or not, I don't know, but
Yeah,
they were all enrolled at University of Michigan, and at or around
unbelievable.
the same time that this spying was going on, two University of Michigan students, also Chinese nationals, twice attempted to breach security at the Selfridge Air Force Base. Actually, it's the Selfridge Air National Guard base, but there is allegedly material on that base that's classified as well. Hence the reason they were trying to get in there. That was that was a little bit more of a funny story. The fine details on that was they were two Chinese nationals were trying to get in to go look at the Air Museum. Their story was bizarre enough right at the onset that the MPs wouldn't let them in. So then a couple of days later, they tried again with different MPs, and they shit the bed again. But this time they were caught because clearly it
Whoa.
wasn't working. You know,
Dude, so what kind of stuff can they see at these air bases? Like, what are they looking for? I mean, what could they possibly be actually looking for? Do you know?
that's uncertain because in both situations, the charges were espionage, and the only information provided was they were attempting to look at classified Army or Air Force vehicles. So
So this is like pretty insane. This is like pretty, it's like Michigan is very clearly like a target. And you're saying that a lot of these people come in from Toronto or
no,
from
no,
Windsor. Windsor.
Windsor through the Detroit Windsor bridge or tunnel. And that's it currently right now with the Trump administration's hard lock on the southern border. The Windsor Detroit Tunnel is basically the main area to get into the country from Canada at this point, other than out on the west coast by what is that? The state of Washington, and I don't know what's near there. What, Vancouver? You know,
Right, but I just have a hard time believing that somebody can come in illegally just by showing up through the tunnel and then enroll at the University of Michigan. Is that, can they do
no,
that?
these are individuals that ostensibly have student visas gaining entry, and in some cases, from one of the situations that involved smuggling of some biological, uh, I guess they were just biologicals. I don't know exactly what they were bringing in, but they were brought in. They were student U of M researchers with that were also Chinese nationals, and they were brought in, and then national security agencies began surveilling them, and ultimately arrested them on the U of M campus. And that was back earlier in 2025. That was after, I think that was after Trump was elected, I believe. Look, the situation is so stark that Kristi Noem came to Detroit and held a huge press conference about it, detailing the enormity of the issue on the border and on that port of entry.
Wow.
And it's
So this is
crazy.
like this. So this is like becoming a big thing. That this port of entry is just like a total. That's where everybody's targeting now to like get over the
And
border. Wow.
by the way, some of that is by design because if you can, if you're the United States, you want to be able to make all the traffic flow through one spot so that you can more closely watch it instead of the southern border, which was wide open. So, from what I understand, the southern border, Trump has pretty much gotten control of that just in this last year. And so now everything has to flow through that one border, which makes it much easier for national security officials to keep an eye on who's coming in and who's going out. If they're going out over a bridge or a tunnel, eventually there's going to be another bridge. The Gordie Howe Bridge is almost completed, so there's going to be three entry points just in Detroit alone.
Wow.
Right.
Fascinating. That is fascinating. Okay, so this CSSA, basically they've passed off this old thing, the Confucius Institutes, to the CSSA. Um, and so what's happening with them? I mean, how do we know that this CSSA is doing all the shady stuff? How do we know that's what evidence do we have that they're doing it?
Because every once in a while they shit the bed. And for example, on the Wayne State campus, they were caught funneling money from the Chinese consulate in Chicago through the CSSA on the Wayne State campus and using that to fund trips and other things for politicians locally in the Metro Detroit area, specifically Washtenaw County, which is where, oddly enough, Ann Arbor is located. So that kind of that originally popped up in 2018. That saga is still kind of going, but that opened the door for national security officials and experts that keep an eye on this to realize, okay, if money from the Chinese consulate is being
Hires.
is
Yeah.
being put through these groups, obviously these groups are working as an arm of the CCP.
I see.
Um,
So it was a property development. So basically, China was trying to launder property development money through the CSSA.
for and by the way, the fine details on that are really bizarre, but basically, the CCP paid for trips for some Michigan politicians to go to China to do God knows what, and then come back home. But the money that paid for those tickets was funneled through a pass through, which just happened to be the Wayne State University CSSA. So right there, that
Okay.
opens the door. How the hell did money from the Chinese consulate end up in their accounts? Other than, there you go.
Wait, but this
That's
is a
the
surveillance photos from China. Who paid for Ipsos to? I see. Okay, I guess.
the
So,
wild
yeah,
side.
they paid the bulls to go out. It's like, yeah, they flew them out there to like convince them to do some sort of development in America.
Yes, and oddly enough, and I don't. This is just speculation on my part. Right now, and I covered this at the Michigan
Mixed use
Employer.
development and near look, it's mixed use land development for near downtown Ypsilanti that would cater to wealthy Chinese students. First build it as Chinatown, but then amended it to International Village. Whoa, nice, good move.
Well,
Wait, so
what's
why
interesting,
Ypsilanti? What's going on in Ypsilanti?
Ypsilanti is right next to the University of Michigan campus, Ann Arbor. It's right there.
I see.
It's
Wow.
it's
So,
the other side of the freeway. It's
jeez.
all right there. The time and spacing of it is just way too ironical.
So these Ypsilanti officials are just sitting around in Michigan. The mayor of Ypsilanti, Amanda Edmonds, I don't even want to Google her. Economic Development Director Beth Ernott, Mayor Nicole Brown, and Police Chief Tony DeGusti. They just get flown to China. They're just
And
like,
as you
hey,
can guess,
want a free trip to China? And the mayor of Ypsilanti is like, yeah, I'll go to China. Hell yeah, says Amanda Edmonds.
you can
Unbelievable, man.
probably
What the
guess
hell?
you could probably guess the ideological alignment of
Yeah,
those
here we go.
individuals as well.
Here's the mayor of Ypsilanti. Look at her. She is a true work of art. And oh my God, these people. It truly. How is this possible? How could people like this exist? It's wait, there was a better picture of her. This one is too good. Look, she has a picture of Leslie Knope on her desk because she's
Can you
enacting the
believe it?
lifestyle of like that. This is so Baudrillard. I can't even. This is like reverse Baudrillard, right? This is like the real life version of the fake thing. Unbelievable. Amanda Edmonds. What a champion. What a total champion Amanda Edmonds is. Look at her.
It's
Here
too
she
good to
is
be true.
holding Leslie Knope. And she just has no morals at all, right? So she's just like, okay, I'm just gonna go to China. Right? This is like it's very Tim Walz, right? This is very Tim Walz. Like Tim Walz is, every hasn't Tim Walz been to China like 37 times and like did his honeymoon there and stuff. It's like, okay, what were you doing in China 26 times, Tim Walz, you fucking communist? But like, it's unbelievable. And they fly out the assistant mayor, the economic development director, like the level of corruption. How long has this been going on? It's just unbelievable.
Yeah,
You can never
can
quite
you still hear
believe.
can you still hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah,
The,
I can hear
the
you. Can you hear me?
what yeah,
Yeah.
and what's interesting is that when I was talking to officials that keep an eye on this, they mentioned a similar scandal had occurred in regard to Georgetown, where some connections were made, where money was getting flown through there, and it just, I don't have the details on that, but that was one of the other things that, this kind of crap has happened on various college campuses or in various cities that have built it's built the straight line between this student group, this national organized student group, and the PRC. And again, I need to stress to you, when I started calling people up and asking them if they had heard about any of this shit, nobody had. It was totally off the radar, completely off the
It's
radar.
unbelievable, man. And
One
it's like,
one
what?
guy, one
Yeah.
one politician I spoke with, the people for Representative John James were aware of the situation, but locally at the state level, nobody had heard of shit.
Wow. And then, so what's been done here? You're saying Congressman John James, one of the candidates to be Michigan's next governor, has been watching this closely and banging the drum. So what's John James doing? And why
So
is he cool about this?
he, when I reached out to his office, he was aware of uh, these types of initiatives that were going on behalf of the Chinese Communist Party. He's been watching it and keeping an eye on it since as far back as 2023, and he was up to speed on most all of this. But what's more alarming is that at the state level here in Michigan, there is evidence that this kind of crap is going on. Whether how close anybody's watching it, I don't know at the state level, but legislation to kind of, cut off or build a wall up between the universities and these foreign influence groups is languishing. There's nothing being done so the long story short is nothing's being done at the current moment. Not a goddamn
Wow.
thing.
Well,
you
so
know.
who's this John James though?
He's a congressman representing one district here in Metro Detroit, and he's running for governor of Michigan. He's one of the leading candidates to win. I went
Oh, he
shooting with
is.
him back. I went shooting with him back in the summer. He's a great shot. We went shooting at the gun range,
Was
and
that for Enjoyer or just?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, dude, sick.
And he
Is
tried to bullshit his way around the fact. He's like, I haven't shot for a number of years. Then he goes out and he hits everything.
he hustled you? So is he Republican?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is who we want to win, obviously.
Um,
Well, so how's it going out there in general with the whole evil takeover of these Ypsilanti mayors, et cetera? I mean, it's so stark. Michigan really is like probably in the country the starkest extremes between the most comically woke regime, ridiculous, terrible people like this woman, Ypsilanti mayor, getting flown to China, and your existing mayor, what's her name? Um, and uh, and then like people who are actually completely rational and cool and like Hunt and stuff, and our hockey dads. So it's amazing, just the crazy polarization. So do you see that? I mean, does it feel like it's going to shift at all? Are people still into Gretchen Whitmer? Like, how does this working?
Michigan, from the outside looking in, has the appearance and the aesthetic of a red state. We're
Right.
hunters here. We're all shooters. It's a working class state with a lot of auto workers, obviously in Metro Detroit, and then throughout like mid Michigan. Um, but I need to stress to you that it just appears that way. When you get into the state and you spend some time here, you start to realize that the girl boss power column out in Lansing, some people call it the high heeled mafia, they are in control. The Republican Party currently in the state of Michigan is not very um, competent and not very clever, in my opinion. So the Democrats in the state, which is a white female liberal power column, as I just stated, they kind of call the shots. So, but hopefully that'll change soon. I mean, Whitmer is not exactly that popular. Um, she is in the last year, she's been acting really bizarre online. It's actually quite hilarious. We were going to do a piece on this on the Enjoyer, but we haven't gotten it off the ground. She posts thirst traps and videos. It's like she's looking for her next ex-husband.
Ay, ay, ay.
And then
Yuck.
there's the her
Disgusting.
unusual plastic
Ew.
surgery. She's just all the
Oh, did
mixed.
she get plastic surgery? Does she look different now? Does she look a lot different? Oh,
Look
dude,
at a
I
pic.
gotta, I
I
gotta
mean,
see modern
you
Whitmer.
gotta
Where can
Google
I
it.
see this? Just
Just
Whitmer,
Google Gretchen Whitmer plastic surgery. You'll see.
Whitmer plastic surgery. Dude,
By the
these
way, it's
people are. What is wrong with these people, man? I really don't get it, man. I really, really don't get it. Like they just don't care. They just don't care about anything. They're pretty much just like total nihilists, basically. They're right. I mean, they obviously if they're getting flown to China. Wait. I can't see the new face of Gretchen Whitmer. Where do I see this?
just Google Gretchen Whitmer 2025. It'll pull up a picture of her, man.
Right. Whitmer 2025. I can't tell what's going on here, man.
Not to say that, not to say that that's relevant, but it's just one of those things where you think to yourself, what the hell is going on here?
Of course, it's relevant. No, it's definitely relevant. I mean, this is what the right needs to get better at: is seizing upon these disgusting behaviors. Okay, so to wrap this up, you say you end this well. You say again, I'm just bewildered at why this could even happen. So you end by saying the advantage of the Chinese Communist Party has over the American public is our socially engineered ideological blindness. The Cold War ended over 3 decades ago. For boomers, the aggressive spy game that entranced the nation is but a figment of a memory. The notion of communist spies from China are embedded into our institution runs against the new religion of diversity and zealous multiculturalism. Among America's cultural elites, pointing out nefarious activity on behalf of ethnic minority elicits frowns. Remember the furious calls of racism towards people merely pointing out COVID was from Wuhan. So America has a new Cold War spy thriller unfolding on its college campuses, but we can't do anything about it. So you know what it reminds me of? Do you ever listen to Martyr Maid? So Martyr Maid has this hobby horse that he likes to talk about, where he says that, and he has like experience inside the intelligence community or inside the military, and he says that if you look at the numbers, the likelihood of a foreign national or a person with some foreign connections, right? Some foreign ethnic connections, is going to be a spy against the United States inside the intelligence community. The likelihood's like drastically higher, right? Like it's way more likely that one of those people. This sounds like the most dumb, obvious thing in the world, right? But inside the intelligence communities, they're not allowed to racially profile. So they have to pretend like they don't deserve greater scrutiny when somebody has foreign ties. That to me is the most insane fucking thing I've ever heard in my entire life. That's like it's like I understand, that rule is, no matter how important your anti-racism rule might be to you, you can't handicap yourself like that. That is just so insane. And that's kind of like what's happening here.
And it's a new phenomenon that we have to deal with in our current 2025 landscape because the Cold War was fought by our parents' generation and our grandfathers, our grandparents' generation, and they weren't giving a shit about profiling this, that, or the other thing. They were rooting out commies any way they could. And yeah, they might have got out of over their skis a little bit. It got a little crazy, but I mean, it was clearly obvious. We know now in the history books, that they were operating aggressively throughout the country. So fast forward to 2025, we've been out of the Cold War now for over 3 decades. We forgot that these notions exist, that these initiatives exist, that we have it's a multipolar world with a major communist country that is our strategic opponent. Yet because we cling to these the religion of multiculturalism and the victim pyramid, the victim pyramid and the oppressor victim kind of landscape, the notion of like targeting and profiling some Chinese people is just beyond it's
Right.
it's not something they have any interest in doing. No one wants to look like ostensibly a racist or for doing something like that. The irony though is like you know it's almost like the perfect cover. Like if you were the CCP, if you're running spy rings for the Chinese Communist Party, you got to be watching all this and laughing. Like we can just operate like this, and they're going to turn a blind eye because we look different and we have a different color skin or
Yeah.
you
So
know
they
they
just get
they're
to do
so
whatever we want.
yeah. I mean, in this current moment, we can't have like a yellow scare for God knows we can't have that by any means. So it's like these people they got to be laughing. I mean, if you were an agent of the CCP running spy rings across universities, wouldn't you just be laughing your ass off by how we've hamstrung ourselves?
Yeah. Well, and God, I mean, it's so insane. And Yeah, I mean, I think I'm reading this book right now called Breakneck by Dan Wang, and it's all about China versus America and like the fundamental differences. I mean, what he would argue is it's not even communist at all. He says this is not a communist group. He says they're, ostensibly communist. They sort of pay lip service to communism. But in
Yeah,
actuality, they're hardcore capitalists. They're basically fascists, right? I mean,
I agree with you.
they're essentially fascist. And so the idea that it's like they're these like nice communists that are gonna like save the working man. It's like no, they're doing it for China. They're not doing it for like the working man, right? So it's like even calling them communists is sort of like not even 100% accurate.
It's kind of ironic that they still actually use the communist sort of motifs over in China to describe themselves, even though you're 100% right and the author of that book is right. I mean, when you really break it down at the granular level, they're not a communist country anymore.
Yeah,
It's something new. It's something new and different that is harder to explain. And by the way, fascism is probably the greatest way to put it because, they're operating like a nationalist socialist state as it relates to the other ethnicities in their own country. If you're not Han Chinese, everyone knows this. If anyone's done any reading, if you're not Han Chinese, you're in a camp somewhere, right? Is that the narrative now that we were coming to understand?
yeah.
You
Well, and
know,
your rights are severely limited. I mean, you're definitely you have severely limited rights if you're yeah not part of the main group. Um, and also they're very engineering obsessed. This is another point of that book where it's like there are very few lawyers in the government in like their governing bodies. There's very few lawyers and there's many engineers because they're trying to yeah basically completely dominate and be the place where everything is made, which America used to be, and obviously they are now. I mean, this is a very obvious point, but it's hilarious that we act as if they're this like disenfranchised group. It's like, but is anybody? I feel like that's nobody's buying this crap anymore, right? I mean, do the Dems, even the Dems in like, are the Dems in Michigan still doing race woke shit all the time? Really,
yes.
still doing it.
They're trying to do it. It doesn't work with normies or anything. The entire thing has been blown out, but they still do it. If anything, now it's kind of a hilarious motif when you find it on social media. It's always on Facebook or something like that because the mom book because the single white suburban moms still traffic in those types of motifs and then you screen cap it and you send it to 10 of your buddies and you're like look at this look at this crap
Yeah, look at this
it's
stupid,
just
stupid
it's
crap.
become kind of a joke and but I don't know. I look and see what's happening in New York with Mamdani and some of these things and clearly the rise of like the CSSA on college campuses, it seems oddly timed to this new launching of socialism in like urban areas. We don't really have a Mamdani in Michigan yet or in Metro Detroit yet, but I mean, I got to figure it's just a matter of time at this point, right?
Well, what's happening with Dearborn? What's the Dearborn update?
Um, oh man, you probably were seeing some of
Yeah,
the
I
stuff
saw that
going on.
mayor. I saw the mayor being
The
like, "You do not
mayor
belong
popped.
here." And yeah, that is
I'm not
crazy.
convinced that the mayor didn't pop off like that, with intent to kind of elicit some sort of firestorm so that he could cling to some sort of victim pyramid type or some sort of victim currency himself. Like, look at me, I'm standing up for Dearborn, vote for me again, and he did. He got reelected, and
Wow.
so but oddly enough, I got something coming on that soon. Something on the
Oh,
next
okay, good. I
next
knew you
month.
were the guy. I knew you were the
I've got
guy to
something.
do that.
I did do a piece on this last month, but I got another one coming because I interviewed somebody in Dearborn that will be very interesting down the road. I got some things coming. I don't want to
Mm.
hint too much, but I'll tell you offline.
All
But
right.
I got something coming.
All right. Well, that's a good teaser to end with here. Yeah, sorry for the sound issues. We'll fix that before we publish it. And yeah, anything else? So yeah, where do I mean? I've noticed you've been big on Facebook. Big on Instagram. Where do you want people to follow you the most? Your
You
Twitter's
can
much bigger.
you can find me Jay Murray on Facebook. I've got contributing writer at the Michigan Enjoyer on Facebook. My Facebook's going off. We're getting a lot of traffic on Facebook. Um, on Twitter, I'm Jay Murray, in parentheses, JZ DeLorean. That was my old pen name that I got doxxed, and I still keep it because all the guys think it sounds cool. But you can find me on Jay Murray at on Twitter. I also have a second account, Jay Murray, the Braid Runner on Twitter. You can find me on that too. I'm running both accounts. And other than that, just go to MichiganEnjoyer.com. There's myself, there's Charlie Ladoff, there's James Dixon, and we're really covering this stuff real close. And before we go, I got to make one mention. The videos that we're putting out that are getting all these hits, they're filmed by a really cool guy named Ken Beck. And he's doing all the filming on all those videos, and he's a former Fox 2 guy, and he's really good at
Oh,
what he does. So
nice.
I can't take credit for those videos. It's a guy named Kenneth Beck, and he's fantastic. And
And is he kind
he's
of like
doing
directing you a little bit,
he's
or?
doing he's doing the whole 9 yards for me and a bunch of other guys. He's really doing a lot of he's looping in the sound. He's making the cut.
Oh, okay,
You know,
nice.
he's doing really he's really the I owe all credit to him. Long story
And
short.
okay, and he's like a shooter.
Yeah, and he does all the filming, and whenever I go out and film a video, he's with me, and he does great work, and he's doing such great work that his name's starting to get around too. So he likes to stay offline. He doesn't like to do podcasts or anything, but I know he's listening to this one. But um,
Nice.
I'm always quick to point out that all credit goes to him because he's doing the hard work behind the
And he's
scenes.
a Michigan guy.
No, he's Ohio. He's from friggin' Ohio, man.
Mm. And
He's been here in Michigan for he's been here in Michigan for a lot of years, but he's originally an
uh,
Ohio boy.
well, okay, but so Michigan now. All right, dude. Great seeing you. Stay in touch. Enjoy the shirt.
I will, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for sending it to me. By the way, man, I all credit. You were the one who found me. I gotta say that you were the one who found me. So all of this fun I'm having, it's all on behalf of you, and I really, really
It
appreciate it.
wasn't me. I was just acting on behalf of God. So don't worry about it.
All right, man.
All right, dude. I'll see you.
All right.
Peace.
See you, man.